Parashara gives the general effects of the Mahadashas in Brihad Parashara Shastra, and for the most part they are as expected. They follow the same principles that we have learned in this course. A Dasha Lord gives its effects based on its nature, whether it is auspicious or inauspicious, its house placement, right? These are the full sign houses as counted from the Lagna. Then its dignity, which plays, of course, a huge role in what it can manifest. Then its house rulership and also the houses that it influences as well, which are, of course, the areas that it's going to focus on during its dasha. And then also the planetary influences that it receives through conjunction and aspect. And so these are the factors that determine the outcome of a dasha. The dasha lord's nature, its house placement, dignity, rulership and influence, and planetary influences that it is subjected to. So now let's hear from Parashara himself about the effects of the Mahadashas. So let's start with the Sun Dasha. So Parashara says, during the Dasha of the Sun, and so right away we know the Sun is an Ashubha Graha and will bring difficulty and sacrifice during its Dasha. And Parashara continues, there is an increase in wealth, professional recognition and honors from the government if at birth the Sun is in its own sign, exalted. And so here right away, the dignity is important. And the dasha will always give the best results when a planet is in own sign, Mula Trikona, or exaltation dignity. Or also when it is placed in an angular house or in the 11th house, right? The angles are the auspicious houses, and Parashara also considers the 11th house as an auspicious house for the Sun. Right? So he doesn't mention here the trines. Of course, this doesn't mean that the trines are bad for the Sun. The Sun is about self-empowerment, talent, and achievement, and the angles or action houses make the Sun more productive and successful than the trine houses. And so Parashara prefers the angles over the trines for that matter. But the trines are, of course, also auspicious placements for the Sun. Now, Parashara also considers the 11th house a great place for the Sun. Right? The 11th house has to do with pursuing hopes and dreams, building networks, and achieving social recognition, and all of those factors that align very well with the Sun's ambition to do great things. Now, the next things that Parashara mentions are associated with the 9th or 10th lord. So again, we are talking here about the full sign houses and their lords. And here it's the 9th and 10th lord, particularly that when they are conjunct the Sun, then they're going to increase the Sun's auspiciousness and well supported in divisional charts. So this applies to basically all the Mahadashas. We use the D1 as a foundation for our analysis, but then of course we also need to check the relevant Vargas as well. So Parashara continues with the effects. The native experiences significant events related to children, such as childbirth or their success, if the Sun is linked with the 5th lord. So in general, when it comes to the auspiciousness or inauspiciousness of a house, then we use full sign houses. Full sign houses is what most of these descriptions here are all about, right? In most cases, we use the full sign houses. However, sometimes Parashara singles out one specific area of life, like here children, and the 5th house. And so in this case, it's better to use the 5th cusp, or here specifically, the 5th cusp lord. Financial prosperity is indicated when the Sun is associated with the 2nd lord. So here Parashara specifically talks about 2nd house financial matters, and so we are going to use the house cusp for that, or here specifically the 2nd house cusp lord. Comforts related to property and vehicles arise when associated with the 4th lord. So this talks particularly about property and vehicles, which are ruled by the 4th house. So when the sun is here associated with the 4th house lord, then that gives comforts related to property and vehicles. Those in government, business or leadership roles gain authority, power and influence. Thus, during the dasha of a strong sun, there will be gains of wealth, status, property, vehicles, honors and professional advancement. And so the more the sun meets the above mentioned criteria, which means, the stronger and the more auspicious the sun is, the better the effects will be in its dasha. So now Parashara also gives the negative effects of the sun dasha. During the dasha of the sun, there will be financial instability, career setbacks, legal troubles, conflicts with authority figures, and opposition from others if the sun is debilitated. And again, the first thing Parashara mentions is dignity. And of course, debilitation is the worst dignity. Now, does it mean a planet in enemy or great enemy dignity will have no problems during its dasha? Certainly not. But Parashara just gives the best and worst effects, and then we can figure out everything in between ourselves. And so if a planet is less afflicted, then there will be less of those troubles mentioned here. And the same also applies to the auspicious effects. If a planet is in friend or great friend dignity, then there will just be less of the good effects mentioned here. Placed in the 6th, 8th or 12th house, or conjunct malefic planets, or with the lord of the 6th, 8th or 12th house. So the worst placements for planets are always the Dushtana houses, which are the 6th, 8th and 12th. Right? These houses interfere with the planet's agenda and cause hardships and delay. Now the planet also gets afflicted when conjunct the lord of the 6th, 8th or 12th house. And additionally here, Parashara also lets us know that their conjunction with any malefic planet and can also cause serious difficulties as well. So now there's further negative effects during the sun dasha. Strained relationships with the father, family disputes and inauspicious events at home may arise. Okay, so the sun, of course, represents the father, and so when the sun is afflicted, the relationship with the father can suffer, and that can lead to inauspicious events at home. There may also be workplace tensions, issues with government regulations, and concerns over reputation, leading to anxiety and stress. So yeah, the sun is closely related, of course, to power and influence and professional success, and when afflicted, it can lead to those negative effects here. A benefic aspect to a weak sun can bring occasional success, while malefic aspects tend to intensify challenges. So here Parashara reminds us to consider the aspects as well. Right? Benefic aspects, they can give favorable effects at times, but malefic aspects can make things worse. And so, let's say if the sun is in a Dushtana or with a Dushtana lord, then the external circumstances become very challenging for the sun, and it's going to bring conflicts with authority figures, right? Family disputes, reputation issues, and so on. But with the help of a benefic aspect, those can be overcome. But if a malefic planet aspects this already weakened sun, then the problems will get worse.